let's see. I might be online, or I might simply just not be online. Let's see what we get. Nice, okay. I am, in fact, online. While we are here, let's also open up Brave. You can move to my first screen and then just Brave. And then just npm start here. Let's give this a refresh before I share it. And there we go. Alright, and it's as simple as that. Now we're back with the flashback. I'm gonna make this dark mode. I am tired of blinding myself every time I look at that. You know, it encourages people to, I guess, sign up, but we don't have a sign up, so it doesn't make sense to have it. Let's see. It will actually be on the login page. Actually, it would be on the route renderer, because that's what says if it's light theme or dark theme. Why can't... Oh, there I go. My audio was just too low. Let's see here. I don't even know where to look. My brain's actually a little dead, so let's see. Maybe I still have the energy. Alright, so here, these things are mostly just here if we're logged in. Yes, it might actually be a little bit more up. Could it be app? Ah, I think it is app. So if the user's not logged in, we do this. Let's just give it a config provider as well. With a theme to make it dark mode, because my eyes simply cannot. And not quite the dark mode I had in mind. Okay, let's see. That's not at all the dark mode I had in mind. I'm not really sure why it isn't dark mode. Because it's just algorithm themed dark, but there's nothing else. But why is this dark and the thing that needs to... Oh my word, okay. We didn't have any CSS files, I think, so there's no styling. Maybe inside of not public, client. Nope, nothing here. Maybe I enforced it on login page? I don't know. I don't know what my idea was behind that. Let's see here. So here we have that. It's pretty much... Let's give it a border. 1px solid hashtag 800. Yeah, so it's just this port here. So if this backport here was correct, it wouldn't be blinding us. At least fully. It could also be a cache thing now. So I don't know. How do I clear cache in Brave? Oh wait, there, delete browsing history. And I just kind of want cookies and cache. Give it a refresh. Okay, so it's still... But why? Because we look at app, all that this has is algorithm theme dark. Now, we're doing the same here. So why is it any different? There's literally nothing else, in this, at least styling-wise, that should change. At least theme is defined somewhere else. Now we're importing that. What a strange little bug. I'm not really sure what's happening. It could be route renderer is causing... It could actually be that route renderer is what's actually causing it to work. Yeah, because it's using layout. No, that makes sense. It's using a layout. So layout would technically inherit the theme. So technically speaking, if I would throw a layout in here, and actually import that component. There we go. Hey, now it actually looks like how I wanted it to look. Okay, that's cool. Alright, no more blinding. And I think the default stuff was just that. Enter doesn't work. I should implement that. Alright, so what do we have? So we have our stock file. We can go to a stock file. We can manage a stock file. We have confirmed that a regular user can join and then see the stock file as well, but they cannot manage it. They can just view it. This is actually calculated, so that's good. And yeah, we also have the admin page where we can see all the stock file, not yet, the cost breakdown, the users, and then the site logs. We might want to implement the site logs while we're at it. I do believe I already have the function. I just need to actually use it. Create system. I can remember what I called it. Create log. Server log. Just give me a second. I'm having brain farts. I'm actually tired. Server, no, of course when we mean server, what? Let's see, API, then we have our there, system change logs. That's what I was looking for. Then here we go, create new system safe log. Okay, now that we have this, we can just throw that in everywhere where we have our methods to make sure we're actually logging it. So await, throw that in there. This is actually asynchronous, right? Yes. That's looking for a method. Method, that's new. What's the method is this? Did I not document it? Method, meteor call method. Oh, okay, cool. Now that makes sense. We can throw that in there. Gonna make debugging a lot easier. Created a new role for a user. Let's maybe expand a bit. So created a new role for user, and maybe just in brackets actually specify said user. And of course this needs to be backticks, and this would be user._id. Update is the actual update that's happening. This is a string, right? Or is it an array? It's a string. Paste that in there. And technically, if you want to be accurate, I should not be doing this. I should put this in a variable and then be doing that. But yeah, I'm not going to do that. Because the only thing that's really going to maybe change is the new date, and that's going to be maybe by a second if, you know, really random chances hit. Everything else is going to be the same, so I don't think it's necessary. But it would be cleaner if you do that. I wonder if I should just start from the beginning with something clean. Since we are using it at two places, meaning if I update one, I have to update the other as well. Yeah, okay, let's do it. What's the insert data we're putting in here? There we go. Just copy that. Const insert role data, which is of this type. Update that. Mongo. And then we take this. We throw that in there. We take this. Throw that in there. And what is happening? Oh, what? Oh, my bad. Control X instead of Control C. Okay, and now that we have that, we can also throw it in here, which will just, in the future, make our lives a lot simpler. Anything else we can put in here? Note and previous state. I don't think we need those. And we can maybe just remove the console log. And in here we have our get and our set. Nothing here. I don't think we'll put anything get, we'll just do sets. And in here we create a stock file. So to create a stock file, we'll just copy that. Then at the bottom, go set stock file create. Then the subject will be create. We should maybe put the user who created it. Yeah. Get user email user, or actually in case they change their email, you just do that. User._id has created a new stock file, and here we can just say, and we're going to have to put these things in there as well. I see there are two inserts, but they are calling multiple awaits here for other things, but that's fine. So let's go here, const insert stock file data, make it like that, and then just copy this type here and throw it on here. Go Mongo, import that, throw that there, and here we can just say name, and in brackets we can actually put the stock file ID there to make sure we actually know which one it is in case we later change the name. Stock file ID, and then finally we can throw that update in there. So just take that, paste it there, and just say json.stringify, and make sure to import this. Right, then here we have a set. Ew. Okay, so let's just copy that. Nope, wrong one. Copy this. And here we should actually put this right underneath this insert. Or should we? Because technically it hasn't really been fully created if one of these awaits fail. But technically it kind of has. Yeah, why not? There's no issue of making two logs for the same thing, it's fine. Alright, then here, find one, and then find at the end there. Okay, there's an insert, so we can throw that there. We import this, and then we take a look. So this is set stock file payment order add to bottom. Is this actually being used? It is. Where? What? Oh, so it's being called here. Set stock file payment order add to bottom. What is this? Why did I implement it? I cannot remember this. So you have your user ID, the stock file ID, and then the order number. The lower the number, the earlier this person gets paid. The lower the number, the earlier this person gets paid. So each stock file and each user will now have, like, this is like a linked table. And then the order number is then when they will get paid. So when you have like 10 users in a stock file, then that stock file will have 10 of these linked little items here. Each of those items will have their unique user ID and then the same stock file ID, of course. And let's say Jack gets paid first, so he will be, let's say, 1 or 0, depending on where the index starts, probably 0. And then, let's say Sally is 10th, then she will be 9 or 10, depending on where the index starts. Okay, that makes sense. And this happens right after they create a stock file, then they're at the bottom. So the person who creates it will automatically be put at the bottom of the stock file to be paid first. I don't know how that's going to pan out long term, but we'll see. And then we have our current user. We have our insert user. So you can pass in a user ID, which is not technically, wait. So here we pass in the user ID, which is currently the same user that's logged in. So technically you can create a stock file, but you will not necessarily then be at the bottom. What was my plan here that I added a user ID? I must just put a top chat to live chat so I see all the chats. So what's my plan here? Because all this does is it moves them to the bottom. It doesn't give them a specific place where they will be. So I might rewrite this later because I didn't really see the benefit in passing the user ID, but that's fine. So let's go insert user, I guess. Insert user. Insert user. Has added. Actually, no. Copy this. Paste that there, and this will be current user. Has added to the bottom of stockfile.name stockfile.id payment order. Has moved, maybe? No, but currently we're inserting. See, that's the thing, we're not even updating. I'm not 100%. I think this is just here so we create the data. I don't think it's really doing anything yet. It's just literally just creating the data. So this is probably a placeholder that I added like 5 months back or something. Most likely. And in here we can go const stock file payment order insert data. And of course just copy this type here and throw in there. Then we at least have some type safety. Mongo. Take this, throw that in here. Then take this and throw that in here. Okay, and that should be most of them. I'm not going to add a log for the system change logs. That would, now see, it would be kind of stupid to do that. Yeah, no, okay, I won't add logs to the system change logs. Let's go method set. Alright, so here we have a user profile. Is this actually being used before I do anything here? No, it is not. I think right now I'm just going to delete it. I'll recreate it if I need it. I don't want extra things here that I don't need yet. Because it will just make it more complicated for me at the moment. And in this, this is here because yesterday we implemented this right here, which will create a new user to add into a stock file. It's currently simply mostly a placeholder because we don't want to create a new user on, invite. Or maybe we do want to create a new user but not confirm the account yet. So we will send them out an email and then they can confirm their account. Something like that. Man, I see I have concurrent viewers, but damn, y'all are silent. Are you like watching me while you eat? I like the background noise just so you have something on, so it's not silent and you don't have to receive all your intrusive thoughts. Alright, so here, let's create another one of these. And we're not checking who is logged in, are we? We are not. But see, the thing is, it's a placeholder. So I don't really know if I want to upgrade it because maybe I should. Maybe I should check if someone is logged in, because currently how it works is you cannot create a user or an account, so you cannot sign up. So it makes sense to maybe lock it, so if you're not logged in, you can't call this. And then we also know what user we have, so that might be the best way forward. So after this, we can go const current user is equal to current user async and just await that. If not, no, what the heck? If not current user, return no author. Currently, users cannot create accounts. So if one is not logged, if they are not logged in, they cannot create a new user. We import this const user profile insert data, and that will be the same as this. My only wonder is this accounts create part here. Should I maybe log that as well? Maybe. Yeah, just so maybe I have everything. Man, these imports. Alright, and then we throw that in here. And let's do the same for this right here. It doesn't have like a specific type it's gonna give me. No, it's just like options, and then there's your options. Hey. I don't even think it's really necessary, because as long as I have the user ID that has been created, I can always figure out who was created. So I don't think this is really necessary. So let's take a look here. Just remember to update that. Get user email. Has added a new user, and also new user. And this is their profile. Wait, no, it's meteor.user. As because I'm using the find method. Get db. I think this is before I updated the code base to use the new stuff. Collection available collection names dot users, and only one true, as well as the selector, which will be this right here. And then we can remove this part. And it should be await, otherwise it will not give us what we want. And then we get the actual type we want, so that works. And then finally, just take this, go here and paste it there. And there we go. That should be the last one. I'm not going to do anything in utils, so that's fine. Alright, and let's see if it works. So I am going to create a new stock file called yabba dabba do. It's going to be monthly, and it's going to be 500. Ooh, that's going to be nice money. Say okay. Refresh issue. We should fix that. New stock file. Alright, so when we create the stock file, actually it's supposed to fetch data. I like that. Fetch data true. Why did it not? Did it not run the onComplete? So if onComplete is provided, run onComplete. And it was provided. Do we have toast? Or is it just message that we have? Toast. It's just message, okay. But that's fine for now. Let's try it again. 1, 2, 3. Just say okay. See, it says created, but it never runs the refresh. Is it because we set open and then we do the wait? Maybe if we do this. Retry. What the? What is this? Okay, let's see here. So we go to the stock file page, and we should maybe just bump this up. I don't know if anyone can actually see. The state isn't updated, maybe. Yeah, see, that's what I'm also thinking. Maybe fetch data is the actual issue here. So let's see here. We have our stock file. So we go to set stock file. Yeah, so when it runs, if no roles return, could it be that? Console.log1, console.log2, and for the log3. Take a look here, go to console. So we get 1, 2, 3, that's normal. Is it normal? Wait, refresh. Do we actually see our stock value? Yes, okay. Now if I go here and just type it somewhere random, we get 1, 2, 3. So it actually gets to this point where it sets stock value, but it is not refreshing it. That is weird. It's like it's not re-rendering after it fetched the stock value. Console.log stock value. Let's just see what we get. So we get 5. Like we only get 5 here though. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah. So the 6th one we created is not actually fetched. But why is that? Oh, you know what? It's the rules. That's why it's suddenly not working. Anyway, welcome to the stream. I got so invested here. I forgot to welcome you. Welcome to the stream. It's nice to see you here. So let's see. I think. Yeah, so we just need to make sure to update this, but that's why that isn't showing because the rules isn't updating, and the rules is not including the user's actual new stock file. But do I really want to pass down a whole function just to refresh the rules? I don't think I do. But see, you can't really... Yeah, you can't really auto-refresh it without that. But how far up would that roles be then? It wouldn't be that far because it would be in route renderer. Or maybe one above it. Yeah, it's importing rules here. So it would be all the way in app. Yeah, here, get user rules. I'm not sure I want to pass this down though. Maybe you should just make sure of like ChatGPT or something. Let's maybe just boot up my AI. Alright, so let's just bring that in here. And then I'll be sure to share that. So window capture. Yeah. LM Studio, there we go. Just move that to the side. Alright, and let's load. I don't think we need a massive model. Let's just go for the smallest one. If it will import my guy. Is it good practice to send down a fetch function from a parent to a child in React? As in example, app fetches user roles. route renderer renders routes. And finally, inside of that, we have our page that uses roles. So import would be from app all the way to here. The old age debate about passing props down a long chain of components. In general, it's not considered good practice to pass functions like fetch down a long chain of components. Here's a few reasons why. Readability, understandable. Reusability, understandable. Dependency management, the problem, that and the state management. Okay, instead, consider implementing the following alternatives. Higher order components. If you need to reuse similar functionality in different parts of your application, create a higher order component that wraps the necessary logic. Again, and you have a context API for more complex state management. Use React's context API or a library like Redux to manage global state changes. Or utility files, place a utility function like fetch in a separate. But the thing is, if I'm going to put it in a utility file, I could just as well rewrite it because it's not a lot of work. Yeah. I should ask what, give me an example of this, because I don't know what they mean by that. Give me an example of... There we go. Cease. It's using old React. Please, I'm a zoomer. I can't read this stuff. Alright, let's see here. So we have our... Whoa, no, don't do that. That's disgusting. So we have our fetch user with fetch user roles, which takes in a wrapped component. Oh my god, I can't read this. I can, but I don't like reading it. Alright, and then we have our component amount. That's I think a use effect. And then if the user roles, which is in a state, is not provided, then it gives a wrap component. Otherwise, it passes in the props. Okay, let me I think I'm already kind of doing that. Maybe. Not sure. Route renderer. I don't quite understand your old man React, but is it similar to this? Alright, let's look at the chat. Not gonna have no idea how else to do it. React isn't that pretty, so yeah, I understand. Nah, the model is just dumb. I can agree with that. Let's see what the... yes, this example of a higher order component in React. In this case, the route renderer functions taking free arguments, children, yada yada yada. It fetches data from the API, fetch data, and then it manages the state. You're not really giving me an answer. It's not really telling me if it's right. Okay, maybe let's jump over to a little bit of a smarter model, maybe. I don't think that model... I don't know. I don't trust it. You're making me question the model. And then I'll just pass in all this information. Let's see. Here is context. App.tsx. Wait, can't you just pass in the file? I think I can. Open containing folder. So technically I could. No, it would be. Yo, I did what? I use my terminal so often I don't even know what I'm looking at anymore. Let's see. I think where's app? App is inside of UI. Okay, I'm assuming that's an import UI app. Okay, there's app. Then we also want to do the route renderer, throw it in there, as well as the, what file is the stock file page. Open containing folder. Just throw that in there as well. Here is context, read it, understand it, whatnot. Just reply with yes if you got it. Okay, cool. So now we have a one with context. So now we can just ask it. So in stock file, oh my gosh, stock file page, we need to refetch the user, oh no, the roles. You'll notice we are passing in roles as a prop. Should I pass in the function from app.tsx down to that file to fetch the rules, or are there, or is there a better way? Oh my word, it's so slow. I should have used ChatGPT. Oh my gosh. Okay, luckily it's not that long. Based on representation provided, it appears that roles are being passed in as a prop component like the stock file page. If you're looking to refetch roles, passing a function from app down to relevant file is one approach. However, considering the modern React patterns and state management practices, using a global state management solution like Redux, last time I used that, it was really not nice. Or context API might be more efficient for managing and fetching roles across multiple components. This approach avoids, This approach avoids drilling and prop drilling and keeps your component tree cleaner and more maintainable. Give example, please, mommy. What if you want to make a sandwich? What? I shouldn't have added mommy. It doesn't understand anymore. And sure, here's a simple example. If you want to make a sandwich, you make two. What? I mean, give me an example of doing that with Redux or context API. Oh my word, this is gonna take forever. Yeah, because I can't think that it's a good idea to pass it down like that. Because how much information later are we gonna do that with? You know, it was already questionable passing down the roles, other than like the user ID. The user ID can understand, but it was already questionable kind of passing down the roles. I wasn't even sure if I should do that, but it also didn't make sense to fetch the roles on every single page. So maybe the solution is just to fetch the roles on every single page, but that's a query to your database every single time you load up a page. So the question is it worth it? I don't think it will make that much of a difference at the end of the day, but you never know. I need some professional advice. Okay, it's here. Creating a context. See, this is normal React. Why the other model is just doing stupid stuff? So you have your use context right here. And you pass in your role context, which is the roles, and then the fetch roles. And then you have your role provider, which is a React component that has your roles in a state here. it fetches the rules, and then in role context.provider, which is also a React component, I'm assuming, or not? No, it's literally just a context. Yeah, because you create the context, and you pass it down like that. And in here you have your role provider that you're like wrapping it in and whatnot. And then you can use your context to get roles and fetch roles. You know what? I kind of like this solution. It is a little bit cleaner because you know how often I've seen in like my work how there's just like billions of freaking these little props being sent down. And it can become later a little bit of a pain to manage. So maybe, you know, having this role context might not be such a bad idea. Because then you can fetch the rules, or you can... No, go away. You can pass in the fetch rules and stuff. So, chat, what do you think? Do you think we should try this? I think we maybe should. Wait, let's maybe ask her a follow-up question. Thanks. And do you think it is better to do it like that, or to instead simply fetch the roles on every... it can't be better fetching the roles on every page. It can't be. Like, I already know it just... Yeah, it's generally more efficient and scalable. Yeah, I can't imagine that doing that search is gonna be in any shape, way, or form efficient if you're gonna do it on like most of the pages, especially for like rules, because we use it like on almost every page. So it makes sense to do that. We can maybe then add user ID to that context as well. Do you think I should add user ID and admin to that context as well? Right, so it would be a good idea, especially since they are used in multiple places, like seen in citation 2, including them in the context, ensures consistent access across components without having to pass them down through props repeatedly. Yeah, because it makes sense, because sometimes when you pass in, like at work, when we pass in these things, it would go down like massive trees. Like we would fetch something, and in like 10 trees down the line, like 10 children down the line, that's where it actually gets used. It's so stupid. But hey, when you code something in like 10 minutes that you actually need in like 2 or 3 hours for, but you know, time, that it just doesn't allow you, I guess it makes sense. Okay, thank you AI. I'm going to move you away because now that I know what to do, I am happy. Now, how do I... Yoink. There we go. Alright, so let's do that. Let's use the context. I'm just going to steal a little bit of the code it just spat out. So first we need to create a role context.tsx. Go to imports. Should it be in UI? Yeah, probably because it's context. And probably in components as well. Should we maybe call it site context? Because it's going to hold context for the whole site that we need, you know? Index.tsx. And then we call this site context provider. Alright, then let's see here. For that, create context from React. I don't know how I feel about this. Should this use context be outside? Because I've actually never used it. open. Jeez, that's not the right browser, my guy. Yeah, see, here. It's used inside of here. It just feels kind of weird putting it outside. No, it should be outside. At least the create context part. The use context itself, I don't think should be. Maybe? I'm not quite sure, actually. Wait, this is just a function calling use context. Okay, never mind. If it was like this, it would have been different. But because it's a function calling it, my bad. Okay, now that makes sense. Hey Steve, I am currently watching your Lua course and I'm loving it. Keep up with the great work. Hey, thanks for the comment. It's really awesome. I just love seeing people enjoy that course. Man, I actually miss Lua. I should code it again. Man, I miss Love 2D. That is by far like the best way to create games. I just can't get into anything else. Once you do Love 2D, you can't do anything else anymore. Alright, and this needs children, so... basic side props, maybe? Or should I just do component props? I'm not really sure. And we'll see how I or where I use it. Where should I be using that? Where will I implement that? I'll probably use the context. Yes, it could probably be basic side props. I don't even think... No, we won't be even using this anymore. Because we're using a context now. Man, I just hate it because the whole Meteor crash course is already pretty much filmed and already scripted. So now that I'm learning like all these new ways to do things, I'm like, damn, I wish I added that to the course. Gee whiz, it happens every time I do a course. Alright, so let's go here and just do component props. Nope, my guy, component props. And then we need the children from that props. Alright, let's see what else does it say we need. Oh, so here, with the role provider, that's where you actually fetch the data. So, let's just close this. So here in app.tsx, all this fetching data stuff, we should be doing that in the context provider thing. Ah, okay. Oh, but you know what? Something I'm just noticing. The fetch rules, we'll still need to call it every single page. Something I've noticed is that we call fetch... Well, is it really that bad though? I don't think it's that bad. I don't like it. But I don't think it's really worth it to spend 10 hours on just figuring out is this one specific way the best way to do it. Yeah, I can actually refactor it once I'm good. So let's just cut all this and then yoink it here. And I think with the context, you could probably anyways search for it here if you really want to. So I think even at that point, it's not really that big of a deal. I can take that as well. Throw it in here. And then what's this? Admin loading. Yeah, we didn't really have any of these anymore, do we? Oh, wow. Now that I'm thinking about it, that use context is probably going to end up being in here and not out here. So suddenly this login doesn't really work anymore as expected. Huh. Same with loading. I don't know how we're going to handle loading. Because technically we don't have access. We can move the loading, I guess. Because... No, but I wouldn't... I think we'll just need to have its own loading. Yeah, because we're pretty much fetching it... Okay, yeah, we're fetching it naked. Pretty much. I think it's fine. Let's import it. I hope this use tracker works with it. Okay, I'm just gonna like import all of it. Nothing sus here. Nope. Okay, then here we set the user roles. Let me just check how did they manage the state. Is it just a regular state that is passed in? Yeah, it's just regular state, so I can copy those states. Add all missing imports. And here this fetch data fetches everything. Do I want to pass in a global fetch data? No, I don't think I do. No, I think this can be handled by app. That I think we can do. And then here, yeah, then these I can pass in. So let me just get this, some context here. So pretty much you do that, where you then pass in this value. And if we go up here, no, role context, then this is what it takes in. So it takes in this roles, which would be this one right here. And it'll be, where did it even, oh, there we go. It created one. That happens when you copy from freaking AI. Then we have our fetch rules, which is fetch user rules. Should I maybe make it fetch user rules? Just to make sure we actually know. And here we also have a loading. I don't think we need loading anymore, because anyways it's asynchronous. And then fetch user admin status. Do we need to pass this down? Yeah, maybe just in case we want to refetch the admin status. Do we, though? Technically, I don't really care if we pass in the admin down. Wait, or do I? Wait, the admin, it's technically, oh wait, so this one specifically is one that needs to be awaited. But it's technically just a role. So as long as we have the latest roles, we do not need to pass down the admin. Meaning this can technically also go here. We might even be able to remove that completely. So we just have the roles and then the fetch roles, and then also just the user ID. And that will just be undefined. And these are the default values. Yeah, I guess it makes sense. It's fine. So then here we have our, we call these user roles. User roles, just to make it sure it's clear. Pass that in there. Pass that in there, and then the user ID. What's your issue? The object passed in as the value prop to the context provider at line 46 changes every render. To fix this, consider wrapping it in a use memo hook. What? Man, I'm learning new stuff here. Let's see. What's your complaint? So here, example of incorrect code. You have your context provider, you pass in your strund, and there you go. And I guess that's for, yeah, that's for old stuff. Okay. Then here, correct code, you have your memo here. So const foo uses use memo. You can use, wait, and then you pass in foo. Oh, okay. I get what's happening. So pretty much this data here, you go like this, const provider data is equal to pretty much this, but you want to wrap that in a use context, or not use context, use memo, so it doesn't re-render every single render. So then you go use memo, throw that in there, and in here. And then all you need to do is just make sure, and we can remove that and throw that back here of app. And this needs to be like that to work properly. I just want to check something. Yeah, it is a function, okay. And in here, we could probably refresh this. Should we refresh this? I'm not really 100% sure. We should actually just check if it works before I do anything. Again, in here, with the app.tsx, we technically don't need... Wait, we do need admin in this case, or check that is admin in this case. So, and also here I'm going to stop passing in these values. In fact, I actually want to stop passing in basic site props, but I'll keep this there for now. So this user ID, which we don't actually get now because it is part of this. Oh my word, I don't know, I'm making it messy. But that's fine. Okay, so here we get our user ID. If there is no user ID, we say, hey, we don't know what's up. And in here, we just check if they're admin. We don't really need to check anything else. If they're not logged in, it will work as usual. If they are logged in, then we have our config provider, as well now as our site context provider. So, site context provider. I hope I'm using that right. Let me just check what the AI did. Yeah, so you just have your context provider wrapped around it, and then you can fetch the data you need easily by just passing it in. Currently, I'm just going to... I mean, I just have so many pages. Yeah, I'm going to remove all of this. And then I guess we didn't need any of this anymore either. Yeah. Man, look how clean it is now. Okay, and then let me just comment that out. Currently, the site is probably going to crash because we are not really checking the right things. Alright, actually, it has a loader. It's not crashing. Well, it's not terrible. Okay, so then we go to Stockfella page. And here, of course, we're not actually getting anything anymore. And then here is where we need the roles. But the roles will come from a context. So let me just check. How do we get the context here? So the example it gives is like this. Why did it need to load to paste? My guy, it's literally just text. What are you loading? And here we have our use role context. Did I rename it correctly? Use site context. There we go. Use site context. And then we get our fetch user roles, we get our user ID, and we get our user roles. But the weird thing is, to get our user roles, we first need to fetch it, which is just kind of strange. Nothing wrong with it, it's just kind of strange. Because why then have this at all? Why not just make whatever you're fetching equal to this fetch here? And then, yeah, let's see if it works, because I don't actually know if it's gonna work. So here we have our fetch data, which will then, you see what I mean, because now we have a fetch data already, but user roles here is like a state. It's just kind of confusing. Okay, I'm just going to, just so I have the basics, because I'm not 100% sure what I'm doing right now. Return typography EA. And just console.log user roles. Yay, and user roles is empty. That is not correct. Meaning user roles is actually not being updated. But why? Could it be it's because of this memo here, where user rules should actually be thrown in here? Otherwise, it won't properly. Yeah, look at that. I think that was the issue. Yeah, there we go. That would mean user ID will also need to be thrown in here. Let's see how that works. But again, do we really need this? Do we really need this? Or at least do we need this part here? Because technically, if we're going to put a fetch user roles in here, we could just assign it. At least if we're not going to fetch it immediately, you know? But then again, oh man, I don't know. I'm going to first in AI and ask it does it look correct. So I'm going to have a use effect here that does a fetch user roles just once on render. And I'm going to ask it, does this look correct? Let's see, where's that AI? Does this look about right? Paste that in there. Your code looks mostly correct. However, here's a few improvements and considerations. Okay, the type definition is fine. The error handling, that's fine. I'll figure that out. Use memo. The use memo and provided it has good practice, especially. Okay, but why is that something I need to take note of? That it's fine. If you're saying it's fine, I don't know what's happening. Fetch rules and user ID change. Since user ID can change after login, you might want to call fetch user roles whenever user ID changes. That makes sense, yeah. And that's blobbing up a whole code base for me. Okay, so let's just, that makes sense, yeah. So if user ID changes, we technically want to fetch the new user roles. Because then we will automatically fetch the roles. And not only will we automatically fetch the roles, we will then, if we need to refetch it, have the option to refetch it. I'll ask our senior dev when I see him tomorrow if this looks good. Because I don't know, it's something just feels sus. Alright, so let's see what it spit out. Alright, that's fine. All of this is the same as what I have. Okay, and then maybe let's all just follow what it said with changing the names here. Role context. Instead of role context, we can have site context. And instead of role context type, we can have site context type. And why is it a type, not an interface? Is there an issue with an interface? I don't think so. Okay, so the usage of use effect to fetch the data is fine. Wait, do I want this? User ID is part of a tracker, meaning it could very well mess up. Yeah, we'll see. I very much think that's gonna cause an infinite loop. Console.log inf loop is user of use effect to fetch the data. Fine. Okay, and then let's see. Okay, I am pretty sure it's gonna cause an infinite loop, but we might be lucky. Actually, it did not. Huh. I'm pretty sure that used to be a problem in React. Maybe it's not anymore. Now the only issue is when it's loading. Alright, let's take a look here. And then we just need to, of course, import everything. That's sus, remove that. So here we have our user roles. Now my question is, maybe I should put reloading here. And only fetch the data if the loading has finished. Or maybe I should refetch the data if user roles. Maybe I should put a loader in here. So let's go use state loading, set loading, and we make it true by default. Then here we have a const fetch data, which is an asynchronous function, which always has a silent, which is by default false, and this will be not silent. And one that says true. Take this, paste that there. Take this. I'm gonna keep that there for a second. I just need to make sure it doesn't do anything sus. Paste that there. Because in the past, if you used to use a use effect with a use tracker meteor, that would cause like the whole page to just crash. So I'm gonna make sure that that doesn't happen before I commit to this. Alright, so now we'll actually do the loading as well. And then pretty much just if it's loading, instead of returning children, return a loader. So loading outline, something like that. Sheesh. Okay, it does not like that. Oh wait, false, my bad. You get like one random freaking white page that just blinds you for a millisecond. Yo, okay, but it works. And it's only 2 fetches here, which is good. Okay, so I think that's good. And this here only ran once, so that's also good. So we didn't go here. Then we didn't even need the fetch roles. We can just get the user roles. And instead of roles, we'll have user roles. It'll be meteor. And what else do we need? Here we go, we need user roles. Alright, now it's time to see if all of this that we just did actually does what we wanted to do. So here where we do the fetch data, let's get that fetch back in here. So instead of doing a fetch data, we're going to actually, maybe we should do both. First do a fetch user roles, and then do a fetch data. Since both of them will, that's not right. They should be asynchronous, async. Wait, is that correct? No. No, that is correct, but this here is wrong. So that should be promise. All right. And then we wait it there, that's fine. It can also take in that loader. Technically I could make it a fetch. Do I not have that? I do not have a fetch data type. Fetch parent. I do not. I'll need to add that. It's fine for now. I don't think it will cause any issues. Okay, and now I have no stock files. What did I do? I didn't do anything that should cause that. Great, I broke it. Let's see here. Oh, wait. My bad. It could be that. Yeah, okay, I just didn't do it in a wait. Alright, so let's try it. So here's new stock file. I'm going to say after context. I'm going to say okay. After all of that. My word. After all of that. What is happening? It is there though. It just didn't add it. But why? Why did it not add it? So user roles didn't do a refresh. Now, I'm not sure if it's like some sort of state issue. So console.log user roles. Gonna add one there. So it is seeing the 9th one there, but it's not re-rendering. So not re-rendering based on the fact that it now has extra roles here, aka extra stock file. So it could be that by the time this runs, the user roles has not updated yet. So console.log, and we're gonna get 2 user roles. Okay, so it's 9.9. Now if I add another one here, 2 runs of 9, and then it goes okay. So it is a state issue. I was scared it's going to be a state issue. What I could do is I could put a use effect on user roles, which if it changes, will automatically fetch the data. I'm not sure if that's a clean way to do it, but it might be the way to do it if we can't get it to do it right. Alright, so let's see here. And in this, just make sure it's not doing anything sus. So console.log. It's looking fine. Now I'm just putting something here. Well, let's make a number. Hey, it worked. There's the number. What's the sorting method it's in? Because as is at the bottom, but as is also at the top. But 11111 that we just added is here at number 3. Is it just randomly putting them where it wants? I'm suspecting that. Okay, but it works. That was a lot of work for this tiny feature. But hey, that's good. Now at least I know about it. Alright. Now, a bunch of my pages are probably going to be broken though. Yeah, because we can't really get this information anymore. Yeah. Okay, so let's go up here. We just do our thing. So the same thing we did here. But now we just do it there. And in here we have our user ID, which may not actually be provided. So we can just go if not user ID, return no access page. And then rules will be user rules. And here we go. Now I can make sure that this doesn't work because it's not loading in there either. So we need to go to route renderer and make sure we're fetching the right data. And this can be, yeah, I actually want to get rid of basic site props. I'm actually going to deprecate it. Deprecate it. Now using context instead. yeah, instead of just passing it all the way down. I don't like that. I never really did like that much. So it's good that we just get rid of it now. So now I can just go component props. Alright, then let's just copy this. And I just want to check something. Yeah, don't think so. And instead of rules, we have user rules. And we just need to check that the user ID is actually provided. So if not user ID, return just an empty array, it's fine. Then here we have an admin check. We can just go, see, that's what I think. Passing down the admin check would also be a good idea, because currently to do this admin check, we need to fetch the whole user. Or at least the, wait, no, we don't. Is admin, but we don't have a sync, we don't have like a client save version. If it has stock file access, like when we do an is admin client, I guess. Yeah. Check if the user is admin. And this doesn't need to be a sync, that's the whole point. And all we need is the user ID, which is a string. Or undefined, why not? And a roles role model. Okay, so if not user ID, return false. And in here we can just go, it's pretty much going to be the same as what we have here, where we have the roles.find thing. I'm going to do the same thing here with blocking it, so please use is admin async instead, because on the server we'd rather use that extra bit of resources, get the right data for the client, like they can maybe see things they shouldn't if the worst push comes to shove, but they won't be able to modify anything, because on the server we don't do what we do on the client. Okay, so then here we have our user ID. Check, you can just go like that. And in the roles, user rules, and to check if they're admin, we check if their scope type is global, or if there's a scope type of global. And wait, so yeah, if it's global, then it's an admin like role, and then if the roles is overseer, admin isn't a role, is it? No, it's not. Okay, my bad. Just remove that from the docs. So if it is an overseer and the scope is global, so we're checking if they're admin. Yes, it's pretty much the same thing as what we're doing already. Return false. Yeah, it's pretty much the same we were doing here. If is admin client, why not? We can call it here. If is admin client user ID and user roles, then we can return true. Yeah. Then we don't need duplicates of it. Okay, now we can also use this on the front end. I sprained my freaking thumb or something. It hurts like heck. Let's see here. User ID and user roles. And we import this. And we need to make sure to do if user ID changes or if user roles changes. Okay, as easy as that. Technically, it should work now. Yo, look at all my stock file at GWes. And the manage page should work as well. Yes. I should just make sure that this is in fact hidden for a user that is not in admin. So if we go here, I'm just gonna quickly test it out. Who here is not part of it? Mark free, okay. Should be something like password for its email. Sign in. Yep. Stock file 2. I can view it. But I cannot view. Okay, I cannot view its management side of it. Warning, React has detected change in order hooks called by Raptor release bugs and errors. For more information. Well, is that a thing that always happens? Like, it looks fine. Okay. Phew. For a second there I thought. Okay, so that's good. That means we have done that part. The view part should be fine. I don't think view is going to have anything really that bad. Stock file manage, stock file page, stock file dashboard page. Yeah, it doesn't really take in any data. Login page, I highly doubt they will have any issues. Yep, and then admin page might. Admin and user ID, yes. Okay, and then we can just copy this, paste it there. Again, in here we can go if not is admin client, user ID and user roles. It does not like that the user ID could be null. App user ID model, there we go. Problem solved. Okay, and now admin page should work as expected. Hey, inside logs works as kind of as well. Receive non-full children attribute. I'll check that later. Okay, so it's kind of working, but it has a couple of bugs. Let me just go check the log page. Admin page, logs. All right, what do we see? It should probably be down here actually. So we have our list, and we have a pagination of 100. Okay, that could definitely be one of the reasons why that's happening. Let me make that 10 and see what happens. Yeah, that's a lot more manageable. If I make that like 5, it will actually fit. Okay, 5 for now is fine. I'm just going to check 1 and then none. What? So all system logs count. Is there an issue with that number? Console.log all system logs count. 27. That's count. Why does it contain data? Count true, so you should not fill it with data. Console.log count. An array of 27. Does my count true maybe not work as expected? Is there a bug maybe? No. This one. Our logs is here. Only one. You know what? I don't really see a count here. Oh, you know what? I think this is an old one. Ouch. Okay. Give me a second. Let me just quickly go grab the new one. Util methods. And the thing is, I updated like on one project, but then I didn't update it on the rest, and it just like kind of falls behind. Here we go. So just paste this here. We need to make sure to actually import count. So here we go, like that. Count. And then here we say count boolean. And Bob's your uncle, it should in theory work. Now, yeah, 27. And now the numbers here work. Okay. That was a whoops on my part. Okay, we can remove that and remove that. And then just make sure to maybe show a little bit more information. 10. And I don't know what's happening there, but I don't like that, so probably part of route renderer causing nonsense because of this layout. There should maybe be minimum height. Should be 100 vertical height. There we go. That fixed it. So everywhere else it should still look pretty much fine, but if you go to your users, now it looks normal. Not user stat logs. Nice, look at that. Then we go to details. We should see our actual details, yeah. Alright. And if I'm looking for something like 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 no, only that about that. Yeah, and I can find it. There we go. Pagination should work. Yep. Search, however, is not put up here. I might want to do that. Just for sharing, like if I ever like get admins on the site, then they're gonna share things with me and whatnot. But damn, again, this is actually cool because I never really did any sort of context thing, so it's kind of cool to have done it myself right now. Because now I also kind of understand how it works, and now I'll probably use it more. And this is why a side project is always so important, because most of the things I know I've learned from side projects. Like this. Alright, converted. And all of this came from literally a bug. Just a minor bug, maybe just freaking rewrite so many. Converted site props to a context provider. Maybe it should be moved. Moved site props to context provider. Added site logging. Added client admin check. That's pretty much all that I really did. Nothing else really changed. Oh, I forgot to remove this test. Let's refresh that so it removes that file. fix site log bad UI. Made login page dark theme. Implement count on method search. On method database search. Yeah, I think that's all the important stuff that I care about at the moment. So just yoink that, commit that, sync that. And boom. Well, this was a really fun and kind of productive coding session. And you know, we ended right on time. It's 8:30 again. Mwah. I just love it when time works out that way. Thank you for watching. I really hope you all enjoyed this streaming session, and for those concurrent viewers who just sat there and said nothing from the start of this video, I hope you enjoyed my voice and that I was good background noise for whatever game you were playing or whatever food you were eating. And thank you all, and thank you to those who participated. It was actually fun talking with you and laughing about this stupid AI. And yeah, I'll see you all again in the next video. Or next live stream. I'm going to try and live stream a bit more, so we'll see how that pans out. Alright, and bye.